All right, my dears, welcome to the Spa Social Beats special episode on the Spa Marketing Made Easy podcast. Love these Friday episodes that we have been doing to give you bite-sized bits of information on tips, tricks, strategies, all social media for spa. And today's episode, we are talking about Facebook groups, something that is near and dear to my heart. I have used Facebook groups to grow my business. I have participated in Facebook groups. I have a lot to say about these and how they work and lessons learned from running a Facebook group with 25,000 people in it and crazy, crazy, crazy. But I am here with Danielle, my business partner in Post with Purpose, and we're going to talk about using Facebook groups, whether that's creating your own or participating in other groups, how you can use those to drive traffic to your brick and mortar spa and what makes the most sense. So Danielle, you want to just start us off?
Yeah. So you already touched on it, like two ways that you could be using Facebook groups is hosting your own and creating your own community there or participating in them. And just from the experience of like being in your Facebook groups as just a member of your team, hosting a Facebook group is a lot. It's a lot of energy goes into it.
There's so much behind the scenes that you think is just not there, but like the amount of spam requests and spam posting and things that it takes, the amount of resources that it takes to make sure that your group is on point with what you're trying to create. It's really like good Facebook groups. You don't know how much goes into maintaining that.
Yeah. So I think if you're using it as a marketing tool, that's when it can get very just admin heavy as a local business owner. Now, I will say if you're using it, like I remember Facebook groups actually came out when I was in college, and that was our only method of like creating essentially like a chat room with if we had group projects and stuff. So we would create a little Facebook group. Now, I think if you're a local business owner who has some element of a group style thing to your business, like you have an ambassador program, you want to have a Facebook group with all of your ambassadors to maybe relay your most recent promotions that they may want to get in on, promoting for you. Or
I've even seen Facebook groups just for teams. So like all of the estheticians, it's a quick way to be able to post, can anyone cover this shift? Or also to build team culture, like sharing reviews in the Facebook group and different things, just things to communicate quickly with the entire team instead of doing email threads or things like that.
Absolutely.
What are your thoughts on having a Facebook group for clients? Have you seen any success with that, or is that?
I've not seen it. I've seen people do it. Haven't seen it be successful because it's one of those things where I think you're always going to have those clients that don't want people to know that they're going to your spa, not because they don't think you're great, but because they really value personal privacy. And I think you can run into some issues there.
Especially for med spas.
Yes. And you can run into issues of your boundaries just being kind of taken advantage of. I think there needs to be that clear boundary of, when you're in my spa or you're in the treatment room, we can connect that way. And it's not that thing of people constantly kind of pinging you with questions or things that it's like, if someone's going to send you a DM with a question, you can let them know and then maybe create a really valuable piece of content on your social media that addresses that question, because if they have it, someone else likely does too. But I just don't think it's for your business's greater good to be trying to connect with clients in that space. I think your energy is better spent trying to connect and nurture relationships through things like your email and just ongoing social media marketing that then can help drive new leads as well, instead of just keeping everyone in this little cocoon in a Facebook group and they're already your clients, right?
So the one thing that I would recommend testing in regards to Facebook groups with clients, this year with the pandemic, we've seen a lot of virtual events popping up. Yes. And I think that a pop-up group
Mhm.
specifically for a virtual event can be really, really interesting, as
Mhm.
far as doing giveaways, doing live streaming, demos, because you do get in a group, you're getting a much different reach of who's showing what post, and the posts are very easily found, very easily organized, as opposed to doing this directly on your business page. So anyone who wants to register for the event, and it's just a pop-up group. It's not anything that you have to continually maintain. That I think could be worth testing, but a long-term ongoing group for clients of your spa, I think is really challenging to make successful. I have not seen that be successful. Where I have is with, just like you were saying, brand ambassadors, communicating with them, and then also with teams,
Mhm.
having a, XYZ spa team Facebook group where you can connect and just build team culture.
Yeah. And what I do think though is useful, and like what you mentioned with Facebook groups for a pop-up event, that's because you're creating some exclusivity around it, and it feels more like an experience when you're creating it in a pop-up type of sense. You're using it as the container for an experience, and it's just that it's being held virtually. Totally think that's worth testing out and trying. And that's a one-time thing, right? You're like putting it into this event and then it's done, and you can archive that group. That's a great feature that Facebook has, is you can archive a group so someone can go back and reference. Maybe you shared something really great in there. People can go back and reference it, but they can't keep adding content on their own. That way it's not this thing that like continues living and you're like, I didn't mean for it to like keep being this place that I have to monitor and watch. But Facebook groups can also be extremely helpful when you're not the one hosting them and you're participating in them.
Let's jump into that, because I think that there's a right way and a wrong way to participate in Facebook groups that you're not hosting. And if you do it the right way, it can be incredibly lucrative for your business. So
Absolutely.
what are some wrong things to do, and how do you communicate in the right way?
So some wrong things to do would definitely be just selling right out the gate or at all. A lot of groups do have rules around it, like no spamming, no self-promotion. And so you might be thinking like, well, then why would I even want to be in there? But it's that thing of just creating relationships and providing value. And the great thing about Facebook is if your profile, you link that you're the owner of whatever your spa is, and it's linked in your profile. If someone really likes what you have to say, they'll go hover over your profile and they can see where you work, and then they can go to your business page. That's just naturally how our brain flows through that process. So even if you can't directly sell, which you shouldn't, because it just comes off as like very door-to-door salesman in that way, where it's intrusive and you're like, I'm having dinner with my family, or I'm just here relaxing or like connecting with people. I really am not here to be sold to. If they want to be sold to, they will come over to your page. They will go to your website if they're interested. And so I think the best approach with a Facebook group that's like a local group, whether it's local business owners that you're in community with and kind of hive minding and networking with, or it could be a local moms group and you belong in that group because you're a mom who lives there locally. You just happen to be a business owner as well. There's going to be conversations that come up that you're going to realize that you naturally have value to give based on your expertise. And whenever you can see those threads happening and just chime in from a true place of service, people do take notice. And that's how you start to build your reputation.
So when looking at groups where you can find your ideal client, you had mentioned moms groups, but there's also like fitness groups. There's special that, there's like the paleo, you can find like paleo groups or whatever. But if you use the Facebook feature, they have groups near me, like you can find different local groups. And I think as a spa owner, you're definitely going to want local, unless you're focusing on your e-com, that can be obviously like a much broader range. But that's a great way to figure out what groups are you actually interested in? Where do you think you can provide value? And the thing with these groups is, again, like, how can you be of service? And if you just mark on your calendar like a 15-minute appointment 3 times a week, that you say, okay, I'm going to go into this group and I'm going to answer as many questions as possible, people will start to recognize you. Like it's a very grassroots marketing strategy. It takes time, but it works. And you'll hear, if you guys ever listen to Gary Vaynerchuk, I mean, that's his whole, he's like, how did I become Gary Vaynerchuk? I answered people's questions for 7 years on social media without asking for anything in return. That's not going to be everybody's strategy, but that was, is provide value, provide value, provide value.
Yeah. And he also says a lot. He says like, become the mayor of your town. And that's kind of a reference to one of the earliest social platforms. If anyone remembers Foursquare, it was like the original Yelp, I think. Maybe Yelp even came out of Foursquare. I don't remember, but you could go to all these local businesses and become the mayor of your town. And the way you did that was by going out and making connections and like pinning. And of course, that was more like location based, but it's that same idea, right? Like go out into your local communities. And obviously that's not happening in person as much right now, but it's definitely happening online, and connect with.
And it will, right? Like this pandemic is going to end. And, as we will not be in this situation forever. And I think that when it does end, there's going to be a time that people have to get used to seeing each other in person again. But I think that there will be such a desire. Like we saw when the 12-week shutdowns happened, and then spas, like all of our Growth Factor members were having like their best month ever in the history of their spa. Not even like the history of whatever, it was like the history of their spa was the most huge month ever. And it's just incredible. Like this year has been such whiplash, and like we had our worst month ever and then our best month ever, but people are craving that connection. And I think that once this pandemic is in a place where, we have a vaccine at scale, there really is truly an end in sight. I think we're going to see just a huge amount of people craving that connection and that touch and that human interaction, and really understanding the need for self-care, because so many people have gone through that, just like, I don't know if it's just like the heaviness of, there's just a lot of emotional pieces that I think we haven't really unpacked yet.
I think people have realized like how important it is to actually take care of yourself, and how that's not just I need
mental, physical, like all of it.
Like it's not just, I forgot to eat lunch today because I was so busy. It's like, no, I need to like take time to think and be quiet today and just do something that's good for myself, like my spirit, my body, like all those things are super important. And I think too, people are more incentivized, or intrinsically motivated to support local businesses. I think people have really seen how much local businesses are the absolute bedrock of every community. I mean, every community, your local economy is everything. And I think there's been reports on it that have shown this, but that people are so much more in tune now with how important it is to support local business and not go to the Amazons and the big box stores. And
Amazon is great, but I think that if you give someone a choice, Amazon's great because of the convenience, right? But in today's I can't tell you how many posts I've seen through Facebook where people are like, I'm buying all local this year. I'm buying all small business. I'm buying all my Christmas presents on Etsy, or I'm buying, like, as a spa owner, there are people out there that want to buy your things, that want to support you. You have to make it as easy for them as possible. They have to know you exist, right? And one of the ways that they know you exist is through participating in Facebook groups, right? You've got to show up and say like, hey, I'm here. I'm a local business. I offer skincare. I can ship to your house. We do virtual consultations. You can buy a gift certificate from us. And hey, I'm actually a participating member of this community, right? It's so hard to meet people as an adult. It's one of those,
even just military. I'm in a brand new area, and of course,
in a brand new country.
A brand new country. I think by the nature of where I live, it's maybe even a little bit more heightened, but Facebook groups are huge here. So if anyone's listening, I live in Okinawa, Japan, which is like a very small island in the very southern part of Japan, but we have groups for military people living here. We have Okinawa farmer stand groups where people talk about like different fruit and veggies that they see at the various farmers markets across the island so that people can go get their fruits and vegetables. And then someone created a farmers market box and it had 300 comments under it saying, and this girl didn't even know what she got herself into. And it was because she took something, she went, I have relationships with these people, these farmers markets. She's a local woman and was like, I'm going to just put these in a box. And if someone wants to order it, I'm going to go deliver it to their doorstep. 300 comments. Most of the posts in this group get like 5 or 10 comments if they're good. And it's like, she pinpointed people want convenience and they want this thing. And she completely sold out within 5 minutes. I wanted one of those boxes and I did not get one.
But it's solving that problem, right? Like if you can, you know, as you say so often, and we say this inside of Post with Purpose, is people connect with people, right? Amazon is not a face. Amazon, I mean, Jeff Bezos or whatever Bezos, but it's like, you're not thinking about Jeff Bezos as you're buying on Amazon, but your esthetician, we have those really personal relationships. You know, I remember when I was practicing, like my clients would bring me holiday gifts. They would bring me birthday cards. Like who else like sometimes my friends don't even bring me birthday cards or, you know, like that kind of stuff. It's just life, right? As you get older. And so we really have these unique relationships with our clients. And I guarantee you, if you make it easy for them to support you, they will. Again, everything, it takes energy, right? They're not going to go out of their way and spend extra time or extra money. But if the choice is even, or in terms of time and money that it's taking them, I think 99% of the time, the choice is going to go with the small business owner.
Yeah.
So that was kind of a conversation that went a little bit off track, but it all circles back to building relationships and building connections in your community. And you don't want to be, you know, it's interesting because as estheticians, one of our biggest blocks is like, we don't want to sound salesy. We don't want to sound pushy. We don't want to be that like used car salesman. No offense to my sister-in-law is a car salesman. So no offense there. They're not all, you know, like car salespeople, but it's just that kind of personas. We want to have this loving, nurturing, caring type of feel. And when you go into a Facebook group, you have to bring that serving, helping, supporting, not the buy my thing, right?
Yeah.
Super important. Very good. So I hope you guys are loving these little short tidbit episodes, giving you just kind of bite-sized bits of information. If you do enjoy this, I would love to invite you to check out our Post with Purpose membership site. It's all about social media and spa. We've got a $7 for 7-day trial. The link below this episode, but we give you our core premise, our core training is to teach you how to create a month's worth of content in just a couple of hours. But we've got all types of other trainings in there. We've got templated graphics. We've got social media prompts. We've got so many things to make your social media life significantly easier so you can spend the time with your clients. So check it out. We've got a special $7 for 7-day trial below this episode, and we will catch you next Friday with another Spa Social Beat.